Leon Scott Kennedy, one of the best characters in the Resident Evil universe and is mainly famous because of his skills, looks, charming characteristics, and cheesy one-liners. Today I am going to tell you guys the full story of Leon Scott Kennedy. This will include stories from both games and animated shows. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's get started. Leon Scott Kennedy is an American of Italian descent. Kennedy is known to have suffered a traumatic childhood due to his family's connections to crime. This ultimately led to him being orphaned after his entire family was killed. Kennedy only survived with the aid of a single police officer, an act that inspired him to one day become a police officer himself. He graduated from Police Academy at the age of 21 and requested assignment to work for the Raccoon Police Department. His reason was the widely publicized bizarre murders taking place in and around the Arklay Mountains. Just before the first day of his joining in Raccoon City Police Department, he broke up with his girlfriend and spent the night heavily drinking in a motel. He woke up on the afternoon of the 29th of September 1998. The rookie officer had no idea what was waiting for him in the city. On the way, he meets Claire Redfield, whose destination was also the Raccoon City Police Department, as she was trying to find his brother Chris Redfield. But upon reaching the city, both of them got separated by an explosion. Leon makes his way to the station. But it had already fallen to zombies, and the only unzombified police officer was the injured Lieutenant Marvin Branagh. Leon eventually learned that everything happened because of the T-virus made by the Umbrella Corporation. Leon had to solve different puzzles to make his way, as the station was a museum. In the police station's basement, Kennedy met Ada Wong, who claimed to be an FBI agent, but actually was a corporate spy from one of Umbrella's rival companies sent to steal the G-virus.
Need a key card. You gotta be kidding me. Get off of me!
Hey!
Who is that?
Stay sharp! Lower it. FBI.
Leon had to make his way out of the station and figure out what was happening while constantly being chased by Mr. X. After fighting through zombies and mutated monsters, Leon and Ada made their way to the city's sewers, where they found transport to Nest, Umbrella's laboratory dedicated to G-virus research. Kennedy was left to do much of the work himself when in the laboratory, though he himself had suffered a gunshot wound. Wong's leg injury made her unable to continue. During the exploration of the laboratory, Kennedy became aware of Wong's real mission when she seemed too concerned seeking the virus. While confronting Ada, she got shot and seemingly fell to her death. But Nest was set to self-destruct. Leon was contacted by Claire, who told him to meet by the train. But once again he meets Mr. X on his way. He manages to kill him with a little help from Ada, who was still alive, and makes his way to the train and was reunited with Claire and the young Sherry. The facility was destroyed and everything with it. Claire and Leon went on their separate ways. Following the Raccoon City incident, Kennedy continued to look after Sherry. Kennedy and Sherry were soon apprehended by the U.S. military. Kennedy accepted to be part of the military as they were interested to recruit him. His subsequent training as a government agent turned him from a simple police rookie into an expert special agent, proficient in weapons handling and close-quarters combat. In 2002, before the destruction of the Russian branch of Umbrella, Kennedy was sent to a small South American country as part of a secret military detachment after the headquarters were informed that a former researcher from Umbrella contacted a man named Javier Hidalgo. Due to the difficult nature of the operation, Jack Krauser, a seasoned and decorated U.S. Army Special Forces operator, was selected to be Kennedy's partner. They were sent to find Javier as the government was unwilling to risk a biohazardous outbreak. They later found themselves having to cooperate as a two-man cell in a T-virus outbreak. Kennedy also met a mysterious girl called Manuela, who seemed to be the only survivor of the village. Manuela turned out to be Javier's daughter. She contracted a rare disease and was kept alive by her father through the T. Veronica virus. Eventually, Kennedy and Krauser fought Javier and took him down with the help of Manuela. Kennedy parted ways with Krauser after the latter is discharged from an injury during the mission. Sometime later that year, Kennedy learned that his former partner died in an accident. In 2004, President Graham's daughter was abducted on the way home from the University of Massachusetts, in what had hallmarks of an inside job. American spies reported having seen the girl, Ashley Graham, in Spain and tracked her to an isolated, rural community. Upon reaching the place, Leon is almost immediately attacked by the local villagers. Over the course of the day, it was uncovered that the villagers were followers of a neo-pagan cult called Los Illuminados. Led by its prophet, Osman Sadler, and his lieutenants Father Baitor's Mendez and Ramon Salazar, they implanted a genetically engineered parasite called a plaga into members as part of their baptismal ceremonies to ensure obedience. After looking for Ashley for quite some time, Leon eventually gets captured and Sadler injects the plaga into him too. While in captivity, he meets Luis Serra, who once worked for Sadler as a researcher but turned against him after knowing his true intention. Both of them escaped captivity and went on their separate ways. Soon after, Leon finds Ashley in a chapel and rescues her from there. But the two were confronted by the prophet Sadler, who revealed that he and Graham were both implanted with plaga eggs, with the intention of Graham being released back to the United States as a mole who could expand his power base. The two attempted to escape from the village but soon found that a government helicopter on standby to pick them up had been shot down. To seek shelter for the night, they initially went in a secluded house and later in the nearby castle. Little bit they knew the castle was the core of everything. The castle was controlled by Salazar. Leon fights through a different section of the castle against monks armed with medieval weaponry, while Ashley gets captured and also rescued by Leon. In the meantime, Leon meets Ada for the first time after Raccoon City, who at the time was working for Wesker, and her mission was to retrieve Dr. Luis Serra's sample. Sadly, Luis gets killed while he was trying to get his sample and medicine for Leon to suppress the plaga. Ashley once again gets captured and taken to a nearby island. After killing Salazar, whose body had merged into the Queen Plaga, Kennedy traveled to the island with Wong in search of Graham once more. In the pursuit, Kennedy was confronted by none other than Krauser, who had joined the organization after his experience in South America and faked his death. Krauser was also working for Wesker as an inside man. Leon eventually confronts him with him, seriously wounding Krauser following a mutation, though mistook him for dead. Wong would later kill him. Leon rescues Ashley from the prison cell. Taking clues left by Dr. Sarah, Kennedy and Graham were able to find the original equipment designed to kill prototype plagas and freed themselves of the parasites. The cult leader Sadler was killed by Leon and with the help of Ada once again. Ada took the egg sample and left the keys for Leon. Leon and Ashley escaped the island in a jet ski while the island exploded behind them. In 2005, the United States government made an agreement with the pharmaceutical company WP Corporation to produce a T vaccine that could eliminate the effectiveness of Umbrella's viral weapons. Later that year, a terrorist attack at Harvardville Airport caused a riot and a plane crash, confirming the presence of the T virus. The U.S. Army was deployed to contain the outbreak and vaccinate civilians. President Graham sent in Kennedy to oversee the operations and rescue 5 survivors at the airport, including his old friend Claire Redfield and Senator Ron Davis. During the cleanup, Kennedy received information that a major bioweapons attack was planned across the U.S. if the government did not reveal its involvement in the original T-virus project. Kennedy and Redfield investigated Dr. Curtis Miller, a vocal opponent of the WP Corporation, and learned of a bombing at the WP Corporation's Air Dome laboratory. Kennedy and a Ranger squad entered the laboratory, where they encountered Dr. Miller, who had infected himself with the Golgotha virus, a strain obtained on the black market. The mutant G virus wiped out the Ranger squad, and Dr. Miller began hunting down his sister, Angela Miller, who he needed as a tool to propagate his new species. Kennedy was able to keep Angela safe, and the three of them escaped into an underground access way. Dr. Miller was killed after falling down a shaft into an explosion. After the attack, Kennedy and Redfield discovered that Dr. Frederick Downing, chief researcher at WP Corporation, had faked his death and stolen G-virus samples to escape with. The India outbreak had been orchestrated by Dr. Miller as a means of advertising the T-virus and T-vaccine. Following Downing's arrest, WP Corporation collapsed and was purchased by Tricell through Wesker's acquisitions. In 2006, an unidentified hacker breaches confidential computer files in the White House, leading President Graham and his team to oversee an investigation. Four specially selected federal agents are sent to search for the mole, but they encounter zombies infected by a virus that has spread throughout the White House. After clearing the White House, the stolen files lead to a bioresearch facility in Shanghai. A top-secret operation is drawn up, in which Leon, Jason, and Shenmei are to infiltrate the Shanghai facility. During their journey, Jason tells Leon about his past, and the submarine is unexpectedly rocked, leaving the bridge crew dead. Leon suspects Jason and Shenmei are traitors working for the Chinese, leading to a violent confrontation. Leon manages to track down Shenmei to her family's mansion, where she reveals that they have been trying to expose a conspiracy to deploy bioweapons in Penamstan. A recent breakthrough involving a computer chip planted on an infected person may help them identify the perpetrators. However, the mansion is destroyed in a bomb blast, killing Shenmei's brother and grandfather. Leon and Shenmei agree to continue their investigation despite the dangers they face, knowing that they cannot give up until justice is served. Jason was trying to expose every horrible thing that happened to him and with the virus outbreaks. He was already infected and had been taking medicine to stop his mutation all this time. But now he endures it and turns into a mutated monster. Leon and Shenmei fights with him and brings him down along with the facility they were in, destroying all the developed samples. Later Leon and Claire say their goodbyes as she was trying to recover evidence all this time through another source. During the presidency of President Adam Benford, the Anti-Umbrella Pursuit and Investigation Unit was disbanded, and its agents were transferred to the newly founded Division of Security Operations at the start of 2011. In February 2011, the U.S. began investigating allegations that rebel forces in the Eastern Slav Republic's ongoing civil war were using bioweapons. Kennedy was ordered out of his vacation to meet up with a CIA agent, Scarecrow. The government ordered its agents to pull out of the country. Kennedy ignored these orders and made his way through the war-torn Holograd. Kennedy succeeded in meeting with Scarecrow but soon died of wounds stemming from an attack by Lickers. Leon got unconscious during an attack by the Lickers. Kennedy woke up in a basement tied up, guarded by Alexander Kozachenko and J.D. Kennedy and J.D. escaped the tunnels on their own, headed to a church the rebels were using as a base. They witnessed the unforeseen effects of the rebels' use of them, seeing numerous civilians implanting parasites into captives. J.D. told Kennedy of Buddy's past. He explained how the government soldiers attacked the school Buddy used to work at with his fiancée, Irina, thinking the school was to support the rebels. Kennedy found out that when Irina and the school children were killed in the attack, Buddy decided to join the resistance. J.D. pleaded with Kennedy to save Buddy, to get to the plaga before him so that he didn't have to see his friend turn into a monster. Kennedy arrived at the marketplace to find the case that was holding the plaga empty. Wong spoke briefly and mysteriously about her job, causing Kennedy to ask again why she was there. The agent returns to the church to find most of the inhabitants dead, by the hand of J.D. Buddy arrives and blames Kennedy for what happened, however, J.D. claims Kennedy is not their enemy. J.D. succumbs to the plaga and attacks Buddy, however, he is promptly killed by Kennedy. Kennedy tries to reason with Buddy, asking him to hand over the plaga, to which he refuses. The government then began to bomb the area, causing the church to collapse. Buddy escapes, and Kennedy pursues him. In the end, Kennedy saves Buddy by shooting in the spinal cord, severing the plaga's link to Buddy. Cut to 2013 in Resident Evil 6. Everything is messed up as there is a virus outbreak while Ada's clone is creating havoc. Leon is partnered with Secret Service agent Helena Harper. There is a lot to take in as multiple characters are involved in this story, and Leon is one of the playable characters. His path crosses with other characters throughout the game. There are lots of conspiracies going on and they are trapped in there. The story begins with Leon and Helena by the president's side. President Benford intends to reveal the truth to the whole world about the Raccoon City incident. But he gets infected and Leon is forced to shoot him down. The attack was conducted by National Security Advisor Derek C. Simmons, who also abducted Harper's sister to force her to participate in a plot to assassinate the president. Simmons is the leader of an organization called The Family, which was researching bioweapons for the U.S. They are responsible for different bioterror attacks over the years. Kennedy and Harper eventually defeated the mutated Simmons while exposing his deeds to the world, overall bringing an end to the madness. Sometime later in 2014, Kennedy and a squad of his found themselves on a mission against the B.O.Ws in Washington, D.C., where the mission went horribly wrong due to a whistleblower, leaving him emotionally scarred. Chris and Rebecca later approach Kennedy about B.O.W.'s attacks by Glenn Arias, and Kennedy reluctantly agrees to help after Rebecca is kidnapped. They go to New York to stop Arias from unleashing a virus, and Kennedy and Chris fend off zombies together. Kennedy stays behind to kill zombies while Chris saves Rebecca and later helps Chris defeat Arias by using his bike to slam into him. After the battle, Kennedy reflects on his life fighting B.O.W. with Chris.
Hey Chris,
Yeah?
how much longer can we keep going on like this?
I don't know. I never make plans that far ahead.
Throughout the whole Resident Evil series, Leon has always been the charming one. A friend of mine says he is the chosen one, and I find that very much true. I tried to mention every significant thing we know about Leon, and this is his story so far. We may know more about him after the release of Resident Evil, Death Island. I am sure nobody made it this far, but if you have, comment and let me know. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. See you guys in another video with another great story. Peace.